So some of you will have seen a previous video that I uploaded and took down a few weeks ago about being in control of one's own decisions to take their medication or to get medical help. So I wanted to reassess how I presented that because I was not in a very good state when I made it, and I recognize that. So but I still believe in much of the message that was conveyed. I just don't agree with how it was conveyed. So basically, I've and this is since that video no longer an issue, but being told, not to take my medication because it's the psychiatrists aren't really looking out for my best interests, and all they want is money, and the medication isn't actually good for you. It's actually very bad for you, and it drags you down. You just need natural resource. You need natural supplements. You need exercise, and yeah, I mean, nothing's wrong with exercise. Nothing's wrong with natural supplements. I mean, that's good to take them. I take supplements. I walk a lot. I don't necessarily go to the gym, but I take long fast walks. I'm not necessarily off my meds though, and I'd like to explain why. So I have a few disorders, less than I thought, but some that makes more sense now. But one of them is OCD, and without medication, my OCD is to the point where it's absolutely crippling. I can be, walking, and then suddenly I have to get that crush down on the floor and start knocking on the floor. And I have to knock either a specific amount of times in specific intervals, or just knock until my brains fall out of my head because I'm knocking and knocking and knocking, and I don't know when to stop knocking until it feels just right to stop knocking, because it's like the anxiety just lets me go. Or I'm tapping chair legs, or I'm touching people, or I'm counting. I'm tapping on objects. I'm counting things. Are there 8 chairs in the room? Am I sitting in the 8th chair? If there are 10 chairs, are there 8 people in the room? Which one of them is the 8th, and am I it? Because I'm obsessed with numbers, the numbers 3 and 7, and afraid of the number 8. So, I mean, I'm just saying that my OCD is absolutely crippling to a degree to which I would not want to continue my existence. So if I can take, some medication and help myself cope every day in a way where I'm calm and I'm not knocking on the floor and I'm not, touching people and touching objects and looking absolutely erratic and drawing attention to myself that makes me just want to crawl into a hole, then that's a win. And that's my personal decision if I want to do that. If someone wants to endure that, or if they want to go through some kind of CBIT or something to reduce their OCD, or whatever it is that they want to do, or that they feel like they can conquer it themselves, that's their choice to make. But this is my choice to make. But so I don't think that it's really right to tell someone that is so crippled by their anxiety or their disorder, whatever it may be, whether it's schizophrenia, whether it's bipolar, whether it's OCD. I don't think it's really necessarily the thing to say stop taking your medication. I mean, it's a little bit reckless actually if you tell someone to just go off their meds when that's really the thing that's holding them together. If they're maybe dealing with multiple issues, maybe like also self-harm, then and the being helped by those other issues, say it's bipolar or whatever it is that they're going through simultaneously, as well as the self-harm or the suicidal ideation, then maybe it's controlling the bipolar that's holding them together so that they don't, commit suicide or do some really awful self-mutilation. Schizophrenia, people need their medication in order to be able to cope every day. I mean, they maybe not everybody feels that way for themselves, which I'll say that they can make that choice for themselves. Sometimes doctors take that choice away, and you have to take your medication anyway. But I honestly believe that medication is not a thing that is imposed on us because it is for making money. I believe honestly that it is something that is for us, that is maybe not the ideal solution, because it's well, it's psychiatric medication. It has side effects. It has all kinds of negative connotations. It has stereotypes. It has stigmas. It has you're tired all the time. But sometimes you have to weigh the positive and the negative. And telling me not to take my medication, especially when I'm very dangerous for myself. When I get very unstable, if I get too obsessed with numbers, I start to get very, very, very too anxious, to the point where I can't stand. I can't tolerate myself. I can't tolerate my existence, and I became dangerous for myself. So if I'm not controlling my medication, my OCD with my medication, then I am in trouble. Now, not all conditions are treatable with medication. I actually have, I've been talking about in the last several videos, I have dissociative identity disorder, multiple personalities, that is not treatable with medication. That is only treatable with psychotherapy. So it's not like every condition, this is what you should do. It's not like just feed you medication for everything. It's case by case. And in cases like hospitalization, getting help for hospitalization, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of obviously in a hospital background right now. So I ended up being, well, I mean, you saw the state that I was in probably in the videos that were before the last couple. You would have seen the state that I was in, and yes, I think that I needed hospitalization. And I think that I was very confused, and I was very lost, and I couldn't figure out who I was or where I was or what was happening. My nights were riddled with flashbacks and dissociation. I was waking up feeling like I was on a weed trip. I couldn't sleep. I could barely sleep. I was going nights without sleeping at all. I was going other nights with barely any sleep. So accumulatively in a week, yeah, I mean, not much sleep. And so it was driving me to be very dangerous towards myself, because I was getting desperate and reliving memories that I didn't want to have to relive. So was hospitalization necessary, even though I wasn't necessarily going to be dying? I mean, was I maybe going to die if I was going to take my life? I think maybe I would have. I think that saying that we shouldn't get help because we're not dying, and is absolutely a little bit ridiculous, because this is what mental health hospitals are for. It is what they're for, is to help us cope with these kind of situations and have a better life outcome, not just not die. I mean, if it's just about not dying, then what's the point? So I think that we need to respect each other's decisions. I think that my decisions need to be respected in terms of whether I get help, and in terms of whether it is necessary for me to get help. I've been struggling for a long time to get help, and the things that I've been dealing with have only now just been discovered what they are, so I can finally start dealing with them. And now actually this hospitalization might not be a slew of actual constant hospitalizations like it has been in the past, although it has been a year since I've been in this. It has been a year since I've been here. But it might be a little bit of a hope that things can change. It's just that some people don't get that help the way that, it can take a long time to find out what's wrong. And so do you stop going to get help because you haven't found your answer? No, you keep finding, you keep looking, and you keep looking for the door that is going to be the one that lets you know what is going on. So basically, make your choices that you think are right. Listen to your doctor. He's not there, or she's not there to just force feed them down your face. And I hope not, because sometimes medications can be overprescribed. Sometimes it's because the patient wants them. Sometimes it's because the doctor wants it a little too much. But generally speaking, if there's a real concern that you have that you're being overprescribed a medication, then you can always seek a second opinion. But if you trust your doctor, then listen to them and actually take your medication. I know that I'm not the best role model for that, because I have stopped medications in the past, but I always consult my doctor and ask them and tell them about what I have stopped and what I can take instead in order to help me actually cope with what I'm going through. So that's the thing, is just listen to yourselves, listen to your doctor, listen And try not to listen to the naysayers who put you down for getting help, because getting help is valid. You are valid, and what you are going through is valid, and it is important that you get the things that you need in order to cope and survive.